In this video, I'm going to show you how to sew a pillowcase with me. So you have made a quilt from start to finish, just like me, and now you are looking at these. The pillowcases, that's right. Now you've made the quilt and the pillowcases don't match, so you're going to have to sew new pillowcases. So my fluffy pillowcase is going to stay, and I am going to make a new pillowcase for this one because this is a complete video series. I've showed you how to make the quilt that you saw right at the beginning, so if you want to see how to make a quilt from start to finish, go and follow this link. So what I like about this particular pillowcase is it actually came with a zipper, and I've never actually thought about putting a zipper on a pillowcase because I've never really had a pillowcase that had a zipper on it. So on my pillowcase, I'm going to also add a zipper. Okay guys, I have a mantra, and that mantra is don't make things difficult than they absolutely need to be. Life is complicated enough. So when sewing a pillowcase, take the pillowcase off your bed and measure that pillowcase that you already have on your bed. So you already have the sewing pattern for your pillowcase. So always use the sewing tools that we have. So here is my sewing pattern, my pillowcase off my bed, and we want to measure it. But don't forget, at the sides, you want to be adding on an additional 1/4 of an inch seam allowance for your pillowcase. I always like to get a post-it note out so I don't forget my measurements. So my pillowcase is going to be 28 inches. I'm going to say like width going that way, and then tall going up and down, it's going to be 21 inches. And I will put their measurements in the description box down below so you can reference them. And like I said before, I am going to put a zipper on my pillowcase, and guess what? I don't have one long enough. So I had a little think, I thought, of course I have a zipper long enough. Just because I don't have a zipper that can go this way, it doesn't mean that I can't have a zipper that goes this way. So I'm going to put the zipper going this way on the reverse of my pillowcase. It's my sewing project, so I guess I can do whatever I want to do. I have some great news for you with regards to quilting fabric, because when you buy it from the quilt store, it's folded over, and when that is folded over, it measures in at 22 inches, but when it's all opened out, it's 44 inches. And like I said, I only needed 21 inches for my pillowcase, so like I have more than enough to make my pillowcases using quilting fabric without hardly any wastage. So I am going to cut my sections 28 by 21 inches to create my 2 pieces of fabric for my pillowcase. What I am going to do at the other side of my pillowcase is I'm going to cut off a little bit of this raw seam here. So I'm going to cut that off. And I always use a rotary cutter. If you need to know how to use one of these or why it's easier, I will link a video on how to use one of these. These are going to save you some time. However, I will use a pair of scissors to cut that other section of fabric. So we have this other side here that was folded over. I'm just going to cut them to open. Obviously I'm using a plain fabric and not a print. This would be another beginner's tip as well. I would recommend starting with some solid fabrics and not some pattern fabrics, but that's personal preference and totally up to you. So as you can see, we now have 2 pieces of fabric, and this is going to make 1 pillowcase. If you want to make 2 pillowcases, you're going to have to do another one with like a front and a back side. So if you need 2 pillowcases, you are going to need 4 pieces of fabric cut at, if you're copying me, it's going to be 28 by 21 inches. Now you are going to need a zipper if you're just doing 1 pillowcase, but I'm sure you are sewing 2 pillowcases. You're going to need 2 zippers. Now I highly recommend that you use a zipper that is going to go well past what you are sewing. These are still a little bit too short. This one is about a 23-inch zipper, and I would highly recommend that you probably go with a 26-inch zipper. You want it to go well past where you are sewing because it just makes life so much easier, trust me, when you're going to be sewing this pillowcase. I'm going to be placing my zipper about 4 inches from the end of one of my pillowcases. So I am going to cut 4 inches off the end. But remember, this is only on the back side of your pillowcase. You're only doing this on one of your sections. I will be using a serger for this demonstration, and it'll also show you how good a serger is and what a great investment it is for your sewing room. I have one of the ends of my pillowcases in my serger because I am going to make sure that this is not going to fray on me, because I am going to be washing these pillowcases a lot. I wash my bedding at least once every week. Now what the serger does is it will sew the side of this end here, but as it's doing it, it's going to be cutting off one of the ends, so it ends up being a really nice closed seam. If you don't have a serger, you're going to have to do some sort of overlocking stitch because this is going to fray over time, and believe me, you don't want to go to all of this effort of sewing a pillowcase and not making sure that it's going to not fray on you, and it's going to want to last. Can you see how beautiful these seams are and how the overlocker is going to make your product last? So you don't want to go and sew these pillowcases and over time as you're washing them, they're going to fray on you. So you want to do some sort of an overlocker or a serger kind of ends to them to stop this from happening, to stop it from fraying. So we have this other end bit here, and I'm going to do the same thing to this. I'm going to put it through my serger, and I'm going to make sure that I don't have any frayed ends. So now I'm going to use my sewing machine to add the zipper. I'm going to use a regular polyester thread in the top of my needle, and I'm going to use some regular thread just in my bobbin area, and I'm going to use a 9014 Microtex sewing needle. I'm going to keep my sewing machine settings to exactly the same settings. You can tell this because they're all grayed out, and I am on just a regular straight stitch. I am going to change out my foot to the piping foot. That is the foot that I like to use when sewing zippers. So I'm going to sew the zipper onto the pillowcase. We are at the sewing machine, and I am going to take one of these ends and I'm going to put my zipper face down. And then if you want to, you can attach some wonder clips to the end of your pillow cover, and that will stop your zipper from moving when you are sewing it. As you are sewing, you just want to make sure that the zipper is in line with the end of the area that you are sewing to. Then once that side is complete, you're going to take your other end and you're going to put it on top. So if you were doing this with a pattern, you're going to put right side facing to right side. It's kind of difficult to see this because this is a plain fabric, but you will have right sides to right sides, and once it's sewed down, it gets pulled back like so. Now that we have the zipper sewn onto the pillowcase, we just want to press this down. Now we're going to go and top stitch right along here. So you're not actually sewing onto the zip, you're going to sew this fabric down. And the reason for top stitching is it just keeps the project nice and flat and flush to the zip. So let's go ahead and sew the top stitch down. I have now changed my sewing foot back to the J foot. It's just my regular sewing foot. So put it back onto my sewing machine. Just going ahead and just doing a nice top stitch. If you're enjoying this video, you're probably going to like a lot more of my videos. So subscribe to this channel. I make new videos every single Wednesday. What I'm going to do is take the backside of your pillowcase, the part with the zip, and make sure that the closure is open and it's facing up towards you. Like if you've got a printed fabric, your fabric is going to be facing up. And now you're going to put the other part of the pillowcase, so the fabrics, if you've got a print, you can have your printed fabric facing your printed fabric. So pretty side meeting pretty side, like pattern meeting pattern, however you want to call it. And you are going to get them both facing each other. If you want to pin everybody in place or put wonder clips in place, you can do that, but I'm just going to carry it straight over to my serger because I am going to close all of these ends up. Pick one of the ends that doesn't have the zipper. So as you can see, I'm not doing one of the ends with the zippers, I'm doing one of the ends that doesn't have the zipper, and I'm going to close that shut first. Okay, that's one end done. Now I'm going to select a zipper end. One thing that I want you to take note is this metal part here. Either cut it, I'd say just cut it away. Let's do that together. So there you go, I have cut that metal tab off so there's no harm to my machine. I don't want to be hurting my machine. Let's just serge all the way down. I go a little bit slower when I come to the zip. Now I'm going to sew this third piece of our pillowcase down, another part that doesn't have a zipper on it. Now this is really important, I'm being serious guys, so just heads up, open the zip up. Because if you're going to do this, you're going to end up serging your zipper off and you don't want to do that. So just pull down the zipper. And then if you want, you can use some pins to keep that into place, or you can just butt it together and serge all the way down. Just make sure you open this zipper. I basically get it to this point and then I will butt, make sure it's straight, hey? So just butt them both together and then just serge into place. Thing I will do is take it back over to my sewing machine and I will just go over that zipper part and I will just reverse, go forward, go back, over it. Like so. When you're done, you are going to unzip your pillowcase and you are going to pull it right sides out. I found that my pillows on my bed were different sizes, so some are filled a bit more than others, and you may have to adjust your pillowcase in order to get a bit more of a snug fit, but you do have to remember that if you haven't washed this material, you will have to make allowances for any shrinkage. They generally say about 20%, so don't make them too snug that you can only just get your pillows into the pillowcase. So there we go, there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Bye guys.